Hey guys, Saf here with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and in today's video we are going to be talking about this new summon style event for Michinaki. So this is the first time they have done a guaranteed summon rush. Now this is new. Often we've had guaranteed ancients, we've had guaranteed voids, we've had guaranteed sacreds, we've also had epics from these types of things, but we've not really had a situation where they've created a fragment champion and then you need to summon all of the summon rush in order to get that champion. Now, the advantage with this type of system, you can get your champion from any of the types of shards. Normally, guaranteed events would require you to pull one type of shard so many times to get that champion, and they're often run at a time when there isn't a summon rush. Sometimes they do it with a champion chase, but I don't think they've ever done a summon rush at the same time. What's quite good about this system is, technically, if we're being brutally honest, if you have 10,000 mystery shards, then you can get a free legendary champion for 10,000 mystery shards. You'll probably lose your mind as you summon 10,000 mystery shards trying to do that, but it doesn't require you to invest your sacreds. Now, obviously, with any sort of summon rush, we know the value of sacred shards are much higher than any other shard. You can use almost like 200 ancient shards, and it's nowhere near the amount you would get for like maybe 5 to 10 sacred shards here. So they've priced this at around about 10,000. Now, 10,000 is translated to 20 sacred shards. So you can either look at it as, okay, I can get a Michinaki for 20 sacred shards and then judge the quality of Michinaki based on a 20 sacred shard pull. Or you can kind of look at it and go, well, I've got some sacreds, I've got some voids I want to pull, and then I can supplement it with mystery shards. And that doesn't then become necessarily a 20 guaranteed. Might be it's like a 15 sacred. It's obviously still higher than 15 guaranteed sacreds. It is going to cost you more shards probably. Now, what I do want to caveat is there are some things here which I'm not too comfortable with. The fact that they've had to put in 4 fragments means effectively, which is what I was concerned about, they've taken away a lot more of the Kraken line of rewards, right? So if you've managed to get yourself down to like 7,500, which is what this normal final milestone would have been, you would have had like maybe 3 or 4 legendary books, maybe another 5-star chicken, maybe a barrel. Now, I'm not so disappointed about the chicken or the barrel, but losing legendary books for like 200 coins, a 6-star epic chaos ore, that doesn't feel so good. So what I would say is I like this model. I think this is better. This is more flexible for players. This means that they can choose what shards they want to use or not do it at all, right? It's totally up to you. But they shouldn't necessarily replace all of the legendary books. I think replacing it down to 1 legendary book is very harsh. Yes, you're getting a guaranteed champion, but you should still get the base rewards down there. I think you probably replace the soul coins with a Lego book and you replace the chaos ore with a legendary book. So that is the Summon Rush event. I think, as I said, I think it's a great idea. Basically, you're trying to adapt the way that you do guaranteed events and you're trying to open up the opportunities for players to get more chances. We are mid-fusion, so you've got to take into account that if you're pulling shards, you know, you might not have enough shards for the next fusion. I've kind of got a good position. I've got 7 sacred shards here, 10 void, and lots of ancients because I've been waiting for a guaranteed ancient. And it's starting to wonder now, are we actually ever going to get a guaranteed ancient anymore? Or have they just decided to scrap that idea? And will they move towards this model going forward? I think if they move towards this model going forward, it's not a bad idea because it just gives us more flexibility. Obviously, they'll only ever do it probably on a champion, on a summon rush, because I don't think they'll ever put 100 fragments on a champion chase. I would like to see them actually do this more for more champions, but instead of it being you have to pull all in one event, they do it across a number of different events, just to open up the opportunities to getting more champions, because there are so many champions in this game now. Trying to get the champions you want is actually quite difficult. Like if they made someone like a Kaima a fragment collector, maybe they make someone like a Kyoku, maybe they make someone like a Wither the Crowned, a fragment collector, and basically over a course of like 4 months, you get like 5 to 10 fragments in a champion chase here or there that you can use towards that champion. I think it's a good way of essentially creating a secondary mercy system, but for good champions. Now, in an ideal world, it would be a completely dynamic option that I can pick whatever champion I want. You know, a bit like this old life token system that we've totally forgot even exists. Having an option, a list of champions I can pick from rather than just the one, because you might not want a Michinaki. You might want something like a Wither. You might want something like a Kaima. You might want something like, you know, you could even want something like a Calvalax or a Theodore or a... Maybe you even want a Shirmani. I don't know. Maybe you want a Lysandra. There's so many different champions that have loads of MVP status that could be used. And are not necessarily OP enough to give us a guaranteed champion. I think potentially the model could be going forward, if they were smart, they just give you basic small amounts of fragments as you glow. You know, you get 5 here, 10 here. And over a course of say 6 months, you get enough fragments, then eventually you will get your champion after pulling shards. So I'm encouraged that they are experimenting with the guaranteed model. In my opinion, this is player trying to be the good guy, kind of trying to go, well, we want you to pull shards, because if you hoard shards, we don't get any money. But at the same time, we're trying to give you more options, more flexibility, more decisions you can make, rather than just going, here's 20 sacred shards, pull the shards and get your champion. It's much better this way. So I am going to be going for Michinaki. Let me explain why I think Michinaki is very good. He's mostly a Hydra and Clan Boss specialist. And Hydra, for me, is one of the core areas that you do want to progress in if you're in sort of the late to end game period. You want to be able to build 3 competent teams and really push the rewards every week. Now, what is so unique about this guy is his passive with his A1. So his passive, whenever an ally attacks an enemy under Hex debuff, this champion has a 50% chance to team up and join the ally's attack. There is no cooldown, there is no limit. The only note is this effect does not work against Hydra's exposed necks. And I want to just say here, a lot of people have been suggesting that this was added and almost like it was a nerf. It always never used to do this. It's just the description never used to say that. So they've clarified what the skill has always done in the actual description. I don't really know why it doesn't work against exposed heads. That seems a bit silly to me, but maybe they just felt like it was way too overpowered. But it's always never worked against exposed heads. This is not a nerf. This is just a sort of localization text change. But why this is good? One, it's 50%, one of the highest joint attacks, like Cardiel's only 30%. And 2, his A1 HP burns. So you effectively get an AoE HP burn, because pretty much as long as you keep attacking different heads, this is going to activate, especially if you've got multi-attack champions, because this is based on whenever an ally attacks, not whenever an ally uses a skill. So if they hit 5 times, then you've got 5 times 50% chance to roll that chance. So it's very, very good. But also, you've got a 3-turn cooldown that hits twice. The first hit removes all buffs from all targets. It's a full buff removal, which is excellent for things like Hydra, excellent for certain areas of content where you know you're going to get a lot of buffs against you. Faction Wars, obviously pretty good. Clan Boss, not so much for this ability to remove all the buffs, but you do need the Hex debuff, so obviously that's the second part of this skill. Sometimes like Griffin is pretty good, Sorath is pretty good. There's lots of different bosses in Doom Tower that makes this very strong. Pretty good for wave content. Just having the ability to fully cleanse it. It's not so good for high-end arena. That's a problem because you can't buff remove because of polymorph. But it's very strong for just clearing the buffs. This ability basically destroys the Mischief Head because you hex him so you can target him and you remove any buffs he might want to spread or if he's already spread them. Now, it can't remove Poison Cloud, so you got to be careful about that because that's a protected buff. But other than that, it will get rid of those buffs. The second hit then places a Hex debuff, and that's on a 3-turn cooldown. And then on the A2, we have another AoE, so we have 2 AoEs, always a very strong kit. 100% chance when booked on a 3-turn cooldown to place decreased defense and decreased attack. The decreased attack is if they're under Hex. So obviously you A3 into A2. So as long as you're controlling the Head of Decay, you should be good to go. And that gives you an amazing foundation for building a Clan Boss team because you get Hex, decreased attack, decreased defense, and an AoE HP burn because he's going to be constantly attacking with that passive. You just need to bring support and damage. But he will do an awful lot of damage as well. I've seen teams where Acrizio has done 100 million, he's done about 50 million. He will pump those numbers. He's also defense-based with a pretty good base HP as well, so keeping him alive is going to be really easy. And he's also pretty reasonably base fast. I think he's also holding his head in his, like, I don't know, whatever this thing is. It's actually kind of weird. He's like Ghost Rider. So do I think Michinaki is worth it? Absolutely. I think he's one of the strongest Hydra champions in the game. I think he will help you build Hydra teams if you haven't got a very strong Hydra team at the moment. So for the sake of the fact that you can get him for 10,000 Summon Rush points, which can be acquired from any of your different shards, he's probably worth going for. And I don't have him, so I will be going for him. So in this video now, we're going to be pulling all of our shards. We're going to be looking at where I'm going to be putting my focus, and we're going to see how far we can get. So we need like 10,000 points. Now, there are some strategies you could do where you basically get to 7,100 and then just buy the remaining fragments when they pop up, if they pop up in your shop a few days after the event. That's what some people did with Supreme Hellhades. They did miss the last 10 fragments and just bought the rest rather than grind out those dungeon divers. But I'm actually going to try and get the 10,000. So 10,000 is 20 sacreds. Now, I only have 7. I did pick up one from the CVC, personal rewards. We also have one pretty much waiting here, which we'll get once we do some of the Summer Rush. That's an extra one. And I think within 4 hours or 3 hours, I'll also have a sacred shard from the 3v3. I just need to grind a few more gold bars to get the sacred shard here. So we have 2 more potentially that can come. We're also waiting on clan boss rewards. It's now 11 o'clock for the UK time, so 10 minutes we might get another sacred shard in there. So it could drastically improve our odds here. We could get up to 3 sacred shards. The 7 is going to get me to 3,500 on my own. So when we're looking at here, 3,500, where does that get us? That gets us just to the first set of fragments. So we've got a long way to go. We'll have another 10 void shards. That's another 1,200 points. So that compared with 3,500 will get us probably close to this. We've still got a long way. So you can see I'm probably going to have to use my ancients if I really want to do this. It's going to be a tough old grind. I can also supplement some points. Like if I wanted to, I could pull 1,000 mystery shards. That'll give me 1,000 points. Whilst this is all going on, we've been talking about Michinaki. There is also quite a crazy times 10 going on. Nekret the Great is probably one of the strongest champions for Arena. Although when live Arena comes, he might just be on the permaban list. Less so than I think than someone like a Baron or something like that, but he could be on the permaban list because he is that strong. We've also got some ally protectors here in Kira and Sneak Track and Truath. I don't really think these are necessarily like crazy good. Kira is very good. Sneak Track is probably the only decent reflect champion in the game, I would say. And Truath I think is meant to be like a really good healer, but I've not really seen a lot of play with her. I'm still pretty big on White Dryden. I just haven't had time to really, like, there's a lot of complexities with White Dryden to make her work, but I still think there is a very powerful clan boss team out there with her. I still think there are very powerful combos with Yumiko that you can use White Dryden with. I don't have a Yumiko to playtest it, unfortunately. And then, of course, we have the epics here. You've got the recent Fusion Epic, which was in, I think, 2 fusions ago, the last Classic Fusion. Actually a solid champion, because once you've stopped using him as an ally protector, he's a pretty strong AoE defense nuker. And then you've also got Taraga the Frog, which is arguably one of the best ally protectors in the game. And Skull Crusher, if you really care about that. I don't like Skull Crusher. I think he's quite poor. But in terms of this, I actually don't have Truath. I don't have Kira. And I don't have, I don't think I've got a copy of the Trumbo, so I'd rather keep it. And I would love another Nekret. So I'm pulling on a times 10 that's actually quite good. So let's see what we get then. We're going to start with, let's do a 10 pull of the Voids. Let's see what we get. Anything interesting. The chance of me getting a legendary Void here is very low. We're just pulling these for points, really. I know I'm quite low on my Mercy system, so it's unlikely that I'm going to get anything. It's probably going to start with a 10 rare, knowing my luck here. Looks like it. It looks like it's going to be a full 10 rare. There you go. We get the clan quest done. Now let's pump through the sacred shards here. This is going to be the first big burst of points. Zargala. Still a very good epic for Faction Wars. Just kind of like it's dated now. What else have we got here? There's the first guy, Trumbo. We'll keep a copy of him. Just because I keep a copy of all the epics, you never know when some of them are going to be good. Then we get a Soul Drinker. I would really love another Ugo if I could get my hands on one. Because block buffs is still a bit of a challenge for my second Hydra team. So Ugo is just such a strong champion for block buffs. Get Cornelia. YST will be very happy somewhere. This is the reality of pulling outside of times 2. But times 2 sacred is pretty bad. We're going into this knowing that we want to get the guaranteed, right? So it's not so bad that we're pulling all these. We get another Jintoro. Okay. I think that's my third Jintoro. Jintoro is a great clan boss champion, but he kind of is limited elsewhere because it takes too long to get this going. But he is still probably this ability when it hits 5 times is the hardest hitting ability in a single attack in the game by far. Nothing outranks it. It's so strong, but it's just trying to get it to activate regularly. But Jintoro, okay, Jintoro. Does that do anything for my faction guardians? Let's have a look. Shadowkin. No, that's my second. It's my third Jintoro, so we can either +2 it, which seems a bit pointless. But we don't really use Jintoro anymore. So far, we've pulled all of the sacreds we had available to us, and we're at 4,000. So we're halfway through. Now, we know we're going to get another sacred here. That's going to help. We can collect all these rewards. And we can finish the Titan event anniversary. It's complete. Now, I did wonder what happens now, because what are we going to do with all these extra anniversary tokens? I got a week of basically collecting bad rewards because they don't give me anything. It would be nice if our excess anniversary tokens got converted into silver or something like they do with the Heroes Path. So at least we get something for these excess points, because it's pretty bad now that in these Dungeon Diver events, for example, there's 1,000 points here, and that means nothing. I can't get anything extra from this. So hopefully they'll do something with that. But that gives us another sacred shard, so let's pull that sacred shard. What else are we going to get? We get a Wuji. Wuji is actually a champion I'm looking to experiment in Hydra specifically. I've 60'd one. We can actually swap out one of these Channies here. We don't need another one of these Channies and actually put Wuji in there because we're going to be leveling up that Wuji. I've seen Nubraids do a video on Wuji. Very, very strong champion. If you can get it in the right setup, you get block buffs, you get, on an AoE, you get a counterattack with weaken. It can really ramp up your damage. So we managed to get 2 more Void Shards. We got one from the clan shop, and we also got one from the clan boss rewards today. But we are kind of short at the moment. We need to wait 3 hours for the one from the 3v3 Bazaar. So I don't think in this video I'm going to be able to get all of the points. But we're definitely going to pull these 2 Void Shards. We'll see where we are at the end of that position. And then we need to make a decision on what we do with the Ancient Shards. I kind of don't want to pull them, but I feel like I'll have no choice. Void Shards have just been rares all the way. So that gets us another milestone. So we're 5,450. We're basically about halfway. Now, if I want to get to the end, I need to basically pull pretty much all of my Ancient Shards. We are about 4,500 away. Basically, we're either about 9 Sacred Shards away from finishing it, or we've got to tap into those Ancients. So we know we're definitely going to get one more Sacred Shard from the 3v3 Bazaar. That'll put us around about 4,000 away. So we need to basically get 4,000 more points. If I was to do that in Ancient Shards right now, it would be 200 Ancients. So this is where it kind of becomes a little bit like, okay, the Michinaki was more expensive than, say, just a guaranteed Sacred. In the sense that I've pulled 10 Sacreds and I'm going to have to pull 200 Ancients, and I've pulled 11 Void Shards. Now, some people might argue, well, that's still not 20 Sacreds. You're correct. I don't have access to 20 Sacreds. I'd have to spend money on them. But at the same time, you are using an awful lot of shards for a single champion here. I think we are going to have to tap into these Ancients. I could obviously pull 1,000 of them in Mystery Shards and be quite comfortable. It's a bit boring, but we could do that as well. If someone is sitting on 10,000 Mystery Shards, they've got a long weekend ahead of them, but they've got a free weekend, basically. That is a free Michinaki for them, essentially, without using any shards. I would probably be able to pull 1,000. So if we did that, we would probably be 4,500, take the 500 off for the Sacred Shard. We could maybe get a few Sacred Shards across the weekend as well, but we can't really depend on that. So it would be 3,000, probably if I was to take a 1,500 from 1,000 Mystery Shards and the extra Sacred. So we'd still need to pull 150 Ancient Shards. So I'm going to pull 100 Ancient Shards here, and then I'm going to see where I'm left with at the end of that. I've saved these up for so long, I've given up the hope that we're going to get a guaranteed Ancient, if I'm being honest, because it's been months. We've had multiple guaranteed Void Legendaries. We've had multiple guaranteed Sacred Champions, but we've not had a guaranteed Ancient in ages. So I've just given up I'm giving it up. It is what it is. They'll probably do a guaranteed Ancient next week now that I've done this. We'll find out. We're pulling a few epics. That's a little bit better. We get a Seeker. I've already got loads of those. It's a bit frustrating on the main because effectively the only champions that really make or break my account are legendary. So all of these, Seeker on my free-to-play would be insane. But for my main, this is just watching all these shards go down the drain is brutal. But again, you've got to keep in the back of your mind, I'm getting a Michinaki out of it, which is a non-dupe legendary for my account. That would be an improvement. Double back-to-back. Oh, it's brutal. It is brutal to see. Can we get an epic? There's an epic. Oh, we got a legendary. Oh, no. I don't want an Ultimate Death Knight. Oh, I hate Ultimate Death Knight. With a passion. This champion shouldn't exist. It's so frustrating. It's not even a win condition. It just makes Arena boring. Oh, that is brutal. It's a Faction Guardian dupe on a faction I think I'm 10 out of 10 on. How many did we pull there? We pulled about 60. I'm pretty sure I'm 10 out of 10 on this faction. Oh. Oh, that's brutal. I mean, we can +1 a martial art now. Or +2 a martial art, I guess. Like, we could take martial ed out of it, and now we can make our first +2. It's the first time I've gotten a +2, I guess. Oh, that's brutal. I despise Ultimate Death Knight. If you've ever caught my live stream, you'll see how much I dislike Ultimate Death Knight. As a champion, I just don't like him. Anyway, we'll keep going. We said we'd go to around about 50. We do have a nice gem stockpile if we need to go and get more Ancient Shards. We're going to go back to a rare, aren't we? Oh, there we go. Excruciator saved the day from being a 10 rare pull. But not bad so far. We got Jintora and Ultimate Death Knight. They could be better, but it could be worse. What else? Let's see. I think I can pull 3 more. Michinaki is why we're doing this. Keep that in the back of my mind. Michinaki is the reason why I'm doing this. Because if I'm doing it for a Jin Toro and an Ultimate Death Knight, it's a massive waste of resources. Do we get anything else from these ancients? Anything interesting at all? Okay, what are we up to now? 68. Let's do one more. We'll then buy 3. We'll buy like an 11 pack from the gem pack, and then we'll do one more and leave it at 50, and we'll see where we get to. Oh, that's brutal. One more, and then we'll leave it at that. What are we going to get? Anything else from the final 10 ancients? It's rare. It's all rare. It's very rare. It's all rare. Ugh. Okay, where do we get to? So we pulled 7, or was it 8 sacred shards, about 11 or 12 void shards, and about 100 ancient shards. And that has got us to 7,850. So we're going to be able to get another 500 from the sacred shard in the 3v3. We're probably going to pull 1,000 mysteries. Might as well do the champion training tournament if we're going to do that, just to basically get ourselves up to here. So that's a 1,500 point. So I've got to find in the final doldrums of this weekend around about 750 points, which is an extra sacred shard from a clan boss, a couple of void shards here or there. Maybe they do an interesting low value pack. I mean, I'm not really sure I want to buy anything really. This pack is not. It's not going to be great. One sacred shard is going to be very expensive. This would be good. I don't really have the monthly power pack either. So we'll just have to see what we get. So tell you what, guys, I'm going to do something I've never done before now. I'm going to do something I've never done before. Now that we had an Ultimate Death Knight, he's the most useless champion in the game for me. He's terrible. I hate him. I'm probably going to see 100 comments going, Ultimate Death Knight made or break my account. Ultimate Death Knight's amazing. You just don't experience what it's like at a high-end arena where you basically sat there for about 5 minutes waiting for the stone skin to fall off the Ultimate Death Knight because you can't remove debuffs because of sheep, and then you just have to wait. It's so depressingly boring. They should delete the champion. But I know he's good for some people. Okay? It's biased, unwarranted hate, but I don't like him. But what he has enabled is he has unlocked, for the first time on my account, I've got more than 5 duplicate legendaries, which means we can actually empower martial ed. Now, generally, my advice with empowering is unless you can get to a +4 for your damage dealers, or unless you can get to a +2 for your debuffers, +1 and +3 is quite low value. You don't really get an awful lot from it. You can see I've got reasonable amounts of dupes, but I'm nowhere near the Krakens, right? I could make a +2 Pixneal, I can make a +2 Vizix. Mostly I've got singular dupes. I don't really have an awful lot of dupes here. You know, I've got 3 Elenarals. We've got, let's see, what else have we got here? We've got 3 Jintoros now. We've got 2 Glazeas. We've got 4 Viziers. You know, Vizier's close to a +4. 3 Ghostborns. I'm very close to a +4 Brogni. I'm pretty sure Mullet, Reaver, and Victor Test would look at that desirably for their Infinity comps, even though they probably have a +4 already. We've got a +2 available here for Mash Led, which you're probably looking at. We've got 3 Abesses, but you can see I don't have an awful lot. But what we do have the ability to do is empower Martial Ed, which, to be honest, might as well do. The way that I look at empowering is once I've done my Faction Guardians, then I can start looking at empowering. And typically, I want either a +2 or +4. If I +2 this, I get 20% attack, and I get some resist, and I get some speed. Just 1, you just get like 10% attack. It's nothing. It's not worth burning your duplicate for. But 2, it's probably worth it. And Mashled is one of those champions that actually has a lot of power in lots of different places. He's going to become my first empowerment, and we're going to do it for this video. You will lose the champion. You will lose everything. Mashled is now a +2. We can't use him for anything, but he's a +2. Of course, now it's going to mess up my order because every time I come into this, I'm going to see Mashled every single time. But we do get some empowerment stats here. That's equated to 300 attack, just under 187, 10 speed, and 25 accuracy, and about 3.5. But the main stats we're looking at here is attack and speed. Makes him go faster, which is great. It's what you want. So there you go, guys. We're going to end it on that note. Hopefully, I can pick up the remainder and just keep a little bit. I'd like to keep a little bit of a stockpile of ancient shards, just in case they throw a curveball at us and give us another ancient shard, and I can supplement it with different sources. We are at 75 fragments. Now, the final thing I just want to say before we end this video is a fragment collector. If you want to keep this guy for a champion chase, once you've got it, you don't need to summon it straight away. I'm going to have Chromax soon. I've got enough for the secret room, so I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 champions of legendary quality. I can basically do a champion chase without even needing to pull a shard. So that's helpful for the next fusion that is coming up. We've also got a Hoscroll there. Supreme Elhain, that's going to be 650 points in a champion chase. It's very, very strong. There you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Probably a bit longer than a normal summoning shard video. Let me know in the comments below, are you going for Michinaki? Do you prefer this summon rush event over a guaranteed event such as pulling 20 sacred shards or pulling 110 voids? Do you think it's a better model? I personally think it does. That's my opinion, but I know that, you know, we're a very strong-minded community, and it's good to hear from all of your thoughts. So let me know in the comments below, and I will catch you guys in the next video.